Live from the Improv Studios in Hollywood, California, it's the Nighttime Show with Stephen Kramer Glickman. Tonight, the show welcomes head writer Matt Walker, the director of the podcast documentary Earbuds, co-creator of LA Podfest, Comedy Film Nerds, Graham Elwood. And now, the man who just churns like butter until he has time to love you. Put your hands together for Stephen Kramer Glickman.
Yay! Hi, everybody. Well, Mike, that was wonderful, and I love you, buddy.
Thank you.
I'm leaving now. Now get out of here.
He stuck around just long enough to do the intro. And he's like, I'm out of here.
I like that. Do your intro, then pack it up.
Yeah.
Graham, I'm so happy that you're here.
Thanks for having me, dude.
I've been on your podcast a couple times, Comedy Film Nerds, and it's right up my alley. And I have your book. Guys, if you can you buy this book? Where can you buy the book?
You can buy that book at comedyfilmnerds.com or on Amazon.
Yeah, this is a fantastic book. I've been reading through, and it's one of these really enjoyable things that I love is books about movies where you can just it's a guide. It's a guide, and it's called the Comedy Film Nerds Guide to Movies. It's written by you and Chris Mancini, our dear friend Doug Benson does the foreword for it, and then it's got amazing writers in there. It's got Dave Anthony, Alan Havey, Jackie Cation, Jackie Cation, who's amazing, Greg Proops, who writes an amazing section in this, and lots of other really, really funny people, and it's I love it. We're going to talk more about the book.
Sweet.
How's everything going with you? You been good?
It's been good, dude. Just what have I been doing? Summer's been nice. I've been doing some surfing in the beautiful Pacific Ocean.
Really?
That's been nice.
How's that going?
Great.
Have you done surfing a lot in your life, or is it a new thing?
I started doing it about 10 years ago.
Okay.
So I grew up in Chicago, so no, I was not surfing
Yeah.
there. I had the surfing skills of like a hot dog vendor that sold Polishes outside of Comiskey Park. But then I moved to Southern California and was shooting a commercial for DirecTV a little over 10 years ago. I had just moved to Santa Monica. And one of the camera guys, was like, "So you live in Santa Monica now? So do you surf? You live by the beach?" I said, "Well, no. I mean, I kind of boogie board and stuff." And I went, "Well, nobody ever picked up a chick with a boogie board under their arm."
Yeah.
And that's when I started taking surf lessons. That's when things changed.
Wow.
That is true.
That's great.
But no, it's surfing's been a lot of fun. And then I was on the road a little bit, and then just getting ready for Los Angeles Podcast Festival. September.
Yeah. When does that start?
September 23rd through the 25th.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's 40 podcasts, 6 panels. It's 3 days. It's a nonstop party.
Where does it all take place?
The Sofitel in Beverly Hills.
Cool.
So there's still 3-day passes, some day passes left. The tickets we've sold more tickets now than we ever have. So
Awesome.
it's good. Last year sold out, so this year will sell out too.
How many times have you done this?
This is year 5.
Wow.
Yeah,
I know. We talked about your people reached out about having us come do the show, but the weekend of that weekend is the weekend that my movie comes out.
Yeah, so I know we wanted to get you in, but you were like,
"Oh
man."
His movie comes out that Friday. We do our live show that Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a busy.
It's gonna be a little.
weekend
It's
for
gonna
us.
be a little intense.
Yeah,
But next year,
Hell
we'll figure it
yeah,
out,
man.
dude, we'll get you in
if
there.
you want us to be there, we'll be there, man.
unless you're in another movie next year on the same weekend.
Just pick a
God.
different release date. That's all I ask.
Knock
Like,
on wood.
listen, Warner Brothers, I'll do your movie, but we got to check the schedule of when you're
There's
releasing
a
it first.
festival.
I have to do the LA Podfest. You sons of bees. You better let me do my pods.
Yeah, it's our 5th year. It's been so much fun. Hopefully you guys. I mean, it's awesome. We got a movie coming out, but come by next year.
No.
What are some of the
so
shows?
cool.
So this year we've got Welcome to Night Vale.
Big one. Yeah,
Criminal,
it's huge.
which is a giant show.
Wow.
This new show, Karen Kilgariff and her friend Georgia do this My Favorite Murder, which is one of the top shows. And then we've got Aisha Tyler in the festival, Todd
Love Aisha
Jimmy Pardo.
Oh yeah, Pardo's on our show on Saturday.
Dude, he's
Yeah.
I've known
him.
these guys for years, and it's great. We just had on Comedy Filmers, Julia Prescott does this podcast called Everything's Coming Up Podcast. It's all about The Simpsons. So like, it's a 3-day. I always it's like I feel like I'm going to a high school reunion in the best sense, like I'm seeing all these comics. A lot of them we're all busy. We're on the road.
Yeah.
I don't see a lot of my friends. And then this
Sure.
weekend, everybody's hanging out. You've got people flying in from literally all over the world. Like the hotel rooms at the Sofitel they're selling out. We've sold more hotel rooms than we've ever done. It's
my God.
it's so much fun. And we've created this really cool, fun community, the podcast community.
That's great.
And we always, we have some of our favorites every year, but then we always try to bring in new shows, and because the reason I invited you, and we'll have you at some point, is I want you to see the LA podcast scene. You get a nice glimpse of it here at the Improv, you know what I mean?
Yeah, a little bit.
But I want everyone to kind of see. It's like, and Welcome to Night Vale has done it in the past, and they're in New York, and they're like, man, they came to us. They're like, we want to come back, do our show, and hang out. I want to be guests on all these different shows. It's like, when you go to a music
great.
festival and they're like, the guitarist from this band is jamming with this one.
in here. Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's a blast. We have an opening night party. There's a big stand-up show Saturday night.
Wow.
There's a DJ party by the pool. Like it's a blast.
Sounds great.
That's so fun.
So if you go to lapodfest.com, you can get tickets. And then here's the other great thing.
Sure, please.
We do a live video pay-per-view of the whole event. So you can watch all 40 shows and panels all weekend. Then we archive the videos for 30 days after. That costs $25. But wait, using coupon code CFN, you can save $5.
But wait, there's
Hey.
more.
But wait, there's more.
Now how much would you pay?
I've become a constant pitch man because I can't get a job in TV. But yeah, so it's the coolest thing, and it's you guys know this from being you have fans all over the world.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the coolest. It's the coolest thing, and I love doing it. It's such an empowering thing as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Having done, you were talking before that I've done game shows and TV and all this stuff, and that's great. I'd gladly do it again. But a TV show can get canceled.
Sure.
Yeah.
Someone can just fire you, or
Yeah, you
something-
never know what'll happen on those.
There's something really interesting about doing a podcast that I just worked with. We had Casper Van Dien from Starship Troopers, right? So we
Nice.
sat down, we interviewed him for like an hour, 20 minutes or so, and then I called him and I was like, "Do you want to come shoot a sketch with me for Loot Crate?" And he was like, "Yeah, absolutely."
Yeah.
And he showed up, and he was wonderful, and we know each other now because he did the podcast.
Right.
I have all this knowledge about him. He has all this knowledge about me. And now we have this relationship. And that's how it's been with every single person that we've had on the show.
Oh, dude, it
extends
great.
relationship. It's like, because before this, it'd be like, oh, maybe you do stand up with someone a bunch of times and then that's about it.
Yeah.
But this is so different. It's so much more involved.
And honestly, that's a great example. Kevin Pollak has done Comedy Film Nerds a bunch. He's in the festival this
amazing.
year,
Yeah.
Wow.
which is great. He's like a buddy. We've become buddies. Like, hey, Kevin, like, hey, guy from all of these amazing films,
Yeah,
like,
that's huge.
do you want to come in Chris's garage and talk about movies? Like,
That's outrageous.
and that's what's so cool. He bugged us. Kevin Pollak is like, hey, can I be in your festival?
Wow.
You know,
Here's what you should do. You'd be like, okay, Kevin, but first you have to do your William Shatner impression for me on the phone right now.
Actually, well, I always ask him to do a Christopher Walken.
Oh,
Like,
Christopher Walken.
Chris
Okay, yeah.
Walken's
So come
amazing.
to Podfest
Yeah.
because I will corner him and be like, so how would Christopher Walken talk about the Sofitel or whatever? What does he think of the Beverly
Christopher
Center?
Walken have to think.
I was at the food court and I do a horrible one.
Amazing. Hey, real quick before we continue, I'm having such a great time. Like, this is so great, and I love Graham. I'm so happy that you're here. But before we continue, just Matt, I forgot to tell you, I last night I had a little fireball moment.
Another one?
Yeah, well, I've been having a lot of fun recently.
They're
and,
a lot of fun. They're great. I love the fireball.
They really are. They really are. Glazer, you know anything about this? About these fireball moments?
Oh, real fun time.
Oh, they're so great. What happens is when you drink Fireball whiskey, then things just get a little crazier. Like life just gets a little brighter and more exciting.
So where were you?
Well, I was at a Sportsman's Lodge. You know that
Oh, yeah.
place? The
Used
old.
to do stand up on a patio
Oh God!
where you get heckled by buses driving by.
Yeah. So that's what happened is I was there and I was hanging out, just relaxing. I had a couple drinks, a couple of shots of Fireball, and I took a little wander around. I was doing a little wander into this little forest behind Sportsman's Lodge. Did you know
there's a forest back there?
Yeah, there's a forest over
You
there.
find so many weird forests in
Oh,
LA.
yeah, there's
It's
a lot of
amazing.
forest. There's a lot of greenery out here. And I'm wandering around through the forest. I'm having a nice little time. I have a bottle of Fireball with me, as per usual. And I'm walking around, and what do I see? But I saw a fairy.
Really?
Yeah, it was just floating there.
Did you talk to it? What happened?
Yeah, I was like, "Hey, are you real?"
I'm real. I'm just as real as you are.
Wow, you're so bright.
Oh, well, that's because I came from heaven.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Is that where all fairies are from?
Well, we live everywhere. Some live in heaven, and some live in the United Arab Emirates.
Oh, I didn't realize that that's where they live. That's so fascinating. Hey, so what are you doing out here in the forest? You having a good time?
Well, I came for you.
You did?
Yes,
Well-
I came with a message.
Oh, you did? What's the message?
Little Mr. Glickman hopping through the forest, scooping up the field mice and popping them on the head. You can't do that. Put down your fireball, time to sober up.
Oh, I love that song. Hey, would you like, hey, Fairy, would you like a shot of this Fireball whiskey?
Yeah.
All right, here you go. Try it out.
Oh, wow, that just goes right down.
Yeah, so do I. And then I made sweet, sweet love to that fairy in the woods. And it was the greatest experience of my life. Fireball whiskey. You never know what's going to happen. All right, let's get back to the show.
But no, the other thing too that I love from podcasting is, and when I directed this documentary, Earbuds, the podcasting documentary that's coming out too, I got to interview a lot of podcasters and fans, and I learned, like Aisha Tyler brought up a great point when I interviewed her. She said, I don't sit down and have an hour-long conversation every week with members of my own family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, think about that. Like, you know, like Stephen, you and I, we haven't known each other that long, but we've like had these long, in-depth conversations. So it's either like there's two things that happen. You meet new people like we've done, and you're like friends now, and we have these common interests. We love these movies and stuff like that. And then there's also like comics I haven't seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just come on the podcast and we'll catch up that way? And it's like you just like can reconnect with them. And what have you been up to? And it's
very nice.
Yeah, it's like building a relationship in a pressure cooker because it's all just like condensed down.
Right.
Because like the relationship you build with somebody, if you're just seeing them at shows you're doing and stuff, it's going to take you a year to get to a certain point of friendship. And you do a couple podcasts with somebody, and all of a sudden, like you want to hang out at that point.
Well, you know who they are. Like you have a really good sense of what they're about, and it's such a cool. I mean, I've done over 300 episodes of TV, and I've never had a connection with other people as guests on the show, and then also with the fans. I mean, there's some fans that have now become like friends.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, like we interviewed this woman, Sanai, who lives in Tokyo, and she's like she's in the documentary, and she's like a friend. She's a friend of mine now. She's not just somebody that listens to the show. It's such a cool. We've literally connected.
So you're saying if somebody wants to stalk a celebrity more effectively, become a big fan of their podcast, and then you can just weasel your way right in there.
Well, I think that what happens too, though, is because it's such a conversation, it's so personal.
Yeah.
I think the big shiny veneer of celebrity kind of comes down to where I think you have less people like being weirdo stalker. Like I think
I think the listener feels like they're in the conversation. They're just not saying anything.
You are in the conversation.
Yeah.
Yes.
You are Michael.
I'm in your head.
Michael, I'm looking at you, Michael. Michael, I'm looking at you, Michael. All right, let's talk about where did you get started? What was the
You're
first?
from Chicago, you said.
I'm from Chicago originally. I actually started I was a freshman at the University of Arizona in Tucson, Arizona. And
Oh, that's a big fun town.
Oh, it was
That's a fun
blast.
school.
That was so much fun. Growing up in the Midwest with the shitty weather, and then you go there and it's
like
always
U of
sunny.
A and ASU are the two biggest party schools I think I've ever been to.
It was
like,
a
it's
country
just,
club college. I
it's
got
ridiculous.
credit to play golf. I was like in a golf class. That's the kind of
It's
challenging I had.
ridiculous.
So
Yeah, I went to Carnegie Mellon. It was not fun. It was not a fun school.
That does not sound like a
I
fun
didn't have
place to go to
fun
school.
for one instant when I was in college.
all I did was have fun.
Yeah, I went to a musical theater conservatory in New York, so it was just I was one of a
lot of back rubs.
It was literally I was one of like 4 straight guys that went to the school.
Well, you must have.
So I just got laid all the time. Yeah, musical theater girls. That's not a real thing that happened. That is not. It was not. It was just as bad as you can imagine. It was not. Good.
But so U of A, you went there. What was your major there?
I was having a nonstop sex party in Arizona.
Oh my lord.
Speaking of nonstop sex parties, Jen Kirkman just walked in.
Jen Kirkman just walked
in.
in.
Yeah.
Bye, Jen.
Bye, Jen. Good seeing you.
That's the podcast community.
Yeah.
Jen Kirkman walks in, and we have a nonstop sex party.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
Because she was downstairs doing her podcast at the lab at the Hollywood Improv.
Isn't that so much fun?
To answer, yes, I was a freshman at the University of Arizona, and some of the guys in the dorm who were like me and a couple other guys, we were the funniest guys in the dorm, and we were like, we should do an open mic night or something. So then there was this competition. It was this Doritos Sticklets, which is a defunct gum company.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes. So chips and gum go great together.
Oh, of course.
Was it Doritos flavored gum?
No, there were 2. It was Doritos and Sticklets.
Oh, and gum in a single package?
No, 2.
Oh.
They're separate
Oh,
companies.
separate
things.
companies.
Okay.
Just add like sponsoring an event together.
Just like if Coke and Ford sponsor something,
Okay,
it wouldn't be
now I
a
got it.
Ford flavored Coke.
I
Does that
got
make
it.
sense?
It'd
I
be
got
like
it
it'd
Although I would probably drink Ford flavored Coke to try it out.
be like if Fireball whiskey and
Right.
Ford decided
Right.
to like work together for an event.
Yeah.
It'd be weird.
You wouldn't be like, this Ford drives like a weird
I don't think you
alcohol.
can have alcohol and cars mixed in that
You
way. It's
can't.
probably a bad idea.
Yeah, just like you can't have gum and nachos mixed.
Yeah, that does sound like a bad
Exactly.
idea.
Really bad.
But somebody tried for the U.S. college comedy
Bad
competition
idea.
in the late
Oh
80s.
God,
Wow.
that's so good.
The MC of the college comedy competition was a gentleman in a mullet and acid wash jeans.
Yes.
And his name is Judd Apatow.
Holy
Wow.
shit! What?
Yes. So
He just retweeted me the other day. I was excited.
Yeah.
So if you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see my first time doing stand up, and you'll see Judd introduce me.
No way. Are you serious?
It's fantastic. I'm 18.
We're going to have to look that up.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing.
YouTube.com/Graham Elwood. But so that's the first time I did. I was a freshman at the University of Arizona.
How old was he?
He was probably,
Same school though. You guys
no,
were-
he was like touring with them. So he was already like making his living as a comic.
genius. Wow.
So he was he's probably 10 years older than me. He was probably 28, 29.
So funny.
So yeah, I started doing comedy there, and then there was a sketch comedy troupe called Comedy Corner that actually was started by Gary Shandling, like in the late 70s, early 80s.
Wow.
And it was a weekly sketch group. So I started doing that. So I started going to open mics at Laughs Comedy Club and then doing little shows around campus. I did a fraternity party where we literally stood on diving boards. I was a bunch of fraternity guys in rafts in a pool, and there was a barbecue, and we were, yeah.
I've done that.
And you were performing on the diving board?
Yeah, just
We
about.
did
yeah,
a show. We
yeah.
stood
That
on
was
the
the
diving board.
stage.
We did that show at ASU or SDSU.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my first ever paying gig. I got $10
Wow.
and I still have the $10 bill.
Do
Wow.
you really?
Yeah, I kept it.
Oh wow.
Never sell it. I feel like the day I sell it, then I'm gonna die.
Sure.
See,
Of course.
Don't use the $10.
Of course. It makes total sense.
That's how it works.
We're so fucking
it's medical
crazy.
science
We're
right
the
here.
weirdest breed of people in the world. I'm like, I can't throw out. I literally was like the other day. I was like, I can't throw out this action figure, even though his arm is broken and
Right.
his head doesn't move and everything's all I just can't do it. I have to keep it.
You've
What
assigned
if
some
you found
mystical
a
power.
really good, delicious-looking package of Doritos and a pack of gum, and they added up to be $10, and it'd be like, I want to spend.
Wait, I don't get it. So gum flavored Doritos.
Gum-flavored Doritos.
Gum. Wait. Is it gum that sounds
Chews like
the-
a Dorito?
How does that work?
How does this
exactly?
a barbecued snackety gummity? I don't get it.
Oh.
So yeah,
God.
that's how I
That's how
started.
you got started.
And then I moved back to Chicago, where I was from.
Mhm.
And
Real quick, Cubs or White Sox?
Cubbies, baby, North Side. I was literally checking the Cubs score.
So in 3 days, we're going to be fighting because you're coming to town to play my Dodgers.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
God.
doubt I'll go to a Dodger game because I don't want to get shanked.
You may get shanked here. I'm wearing a Raider shirt. It could happen.
You're pretty street. Quick update: Cubbies 5, San Diego Padres 0. Top of 8. So yeah, I moved back to Chicago.
So funny.
Is that your Harry Carey impression?
I almost
Top of the dive.
Top of the ninth. I've always had I've never I was a sportscaster for my high school basketball team on a cable channel. And in the back of my mind, I've never pursued it as a job or anything. But if anyone ever went, you want to be a sportscaster?
You'd be like, I'm in.
I'm in.
Yeah.
AAA baseball in fucking Nantucket? Down.
Sure.
Book it.
I get it.
Have you ever gone to Chicago and been able to be like the person who leads them in the 7th inning stretch, taking me out to the ball game?
No, I'm not
yet.
that famous.
You
I
know,
threw out the opening pitch at a White Sox game, though.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
How cool
Major
is
leagues,
that?
that's good.
That's a big deal.
When I was with the Game Show Network. And
Yeah.
White Sox fans booed me, which was great.
Did they know you were a Cubs fan?
No,
Oh, they just booed you.
I had a White Sox shirt because I don't dislike the White Sox.
Yes.
I like the White Sox, and I watched them when I was a kid in the 80s because I just loved living in a city that had 2 baseball teams. And so they're like, from the Game Show Network, Cram, ladies and gentlemen, Graham Elwood, man, you go suck, you fucking blah, blah. I was like, oh, thank you, White Sox fans.
That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy. I just got asked to do that, and I said no.
What?
Where?
Yeah.
Which one?
I'm not gonna. Well, I'm
Tell
not gonna
me-
say.
tell me the details, 'cause I'm
not
gonna
say where
smack
it
you.
is. I'm not gonna say where it is.
What team?
But I will do it at some point. So I don't want to say
Is it
who it
in-
is because then I'm.
Is it south of here?
It is south.
Okay, so the Padres.
Look, it's south of there.
South of Tijuana, Mexico?
That's exactly where it is.
Oh!
The Tijuana Mexican baseball team. That's who.
Did you know
asked
the
to
great
do
Adrian
it.
Gonzalez plays first base for the Dodgers when he was a teenager, played on Pro-Am teams in Mexico in Tijuana.
Really?
Yes, because he's from San Diego.
Look, I'm not good at sports. I don't know anything about them. And let me tell you, the only thing I know about baseball is stuff I learned from A League of Their Own. I really don't know anything else.
So he knows you're not
everything.
supposed
That's
to
it.
cry. That's it.
No, there's no crying in baseball. I know that is a fact.
You know, you can be drunk in the dugout.
I know that. Absolutely. I've only been to one Dodger game, and when I went, I wore a 3-piece suit, and I sat right behind home base, and I said, if you screw this one up, we're going to trade you. I just kept yelling that, and they made me be quiet, and they gave me a bunch of hot dogs to shut up. That's a real thing that happened.
That's
You
excellent.
should-
I went with David
Well, look,
Pierce, my lawyer.
I know you're not going to be able to throw the ball over the plate, but you should go sing the national anthem, like because you can sing. You've been on Broadway. Like
maybe I'll do that.
that's what.
Maybe
That's
the
what you
thing
should
to
do.
Talk to your
If you-
manager because that's a
Yeah.
better gig. You have to, nobody boos you singing the national
No.
anthem.
do.
Although you're Canadian, so you probably don't even know
it's
it.
going to be embarrassing.
Yeah.
I'm going to mess
Unless
it
you
up.
walk out with that with like a ISIS shirt or something,
Yeah.
and then they might get mad.
Before we continue, I want to talk to you guys about something that happened. Do you mind if we jump ship for a second?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, I gotta talk to you about this because this happened today. I was on Facebook, and a girl that I went. This is the actual post. You guys can see it's real. Okay.
Got it.
This is a girl that I grew up with. We went to elementary school together. She's a grown woman. Brian, you're going to appreciate this. I'm going to read this verbatim. This is what she wrote. This is why I'm happy I don't have any kids. I don't have any kids. Do you have any kids?
No way.
Okay. Do you have any kids, Brian? Okay. Matt, you don't have any kids?
Not that I know.
I don't
of.
have any kids. And this is what a girl who's the same age as me, who grew up in the same town as me, who lives a block from my mom's old house.
Mhm.
This is what she wrote. If you are a parent of toddlers, do not go to the Sky Zone in San Marcos. They charge the toddlers full price, $12 for 30 minutes. What the hell? Then net off a specific area so your little only has about 12 squares where they can jump. Additionally, they can't access half the park because they're too little, like the basketball and dodgeball areas. Parents of littles can't jump for free, and we're not allowed to sit or rest anywhere except for one small square. After the third time of being policed, I gave up and I asked for a refund. Check yourself, Sky Zone. Your toddler jumping policy is greedy, very unsatisfied. I was like, and here's the best part.
How about this?
Every single comment is like, yeah, I'm right there with you. Like
Like
all
you
the
tell 'em,
women
yeah.
are like, yeah,
How about
absolutely.
this? Tell her that I will volunteer to play dodgeball with her toddlers.
Yeah, exactly.
I
was
will
like,
throw a ball at her toddlers
Yeah.
as hard as I can if she would like me to. I would volunteer
Oh,
gladly to do that.
God, like seriously, check yourself, Sky Zone. It was just made me. I loved that. I thought it was great.
Well, I'm glad somebody's keeping Sky Zone in check.
Yeah.
over
Right.
there.
Yeah,
Thank God.
seriously.
Somebody had to do the tough work.
So
Someone's got to take him down a peg. Yeah.
So let's let's hop back into this.
Yeah. So you're doing comedy.
You're doing comedy. You're doing stand up.
How did you? What was your first TV gig?
The first just appearance or like full gig?
Well, first appearance, and then we'll talk about full gig.
The first appearance. Well, I had like I did a famous footwear commercial when I was 8.
Oh wow!
Where I held up a pair of Pumas and went, "I like these," and
So
everyone at school made fun of me.
Did like when you were a kid, were you into like performing arts and stuff and all that, or not?
Kind of yes and no. I mean, my father was a theater professor.
Oh wow!
So I
Were
was
you doing plays and things.
I kind of rejected it. I was just like, I think me and my brother, my dad, there's 4 of us. So his daughters, my oldest sisters, were into performing and stuff like that. My brother and I were kind of meatheads, so we were like sports. I don't think my dad knew how to talk to us. We were just like, it was the 70s, and there's like peace rallies, and we're like, we want toy guns, They're just like, what?
Yeah.
So yeah, but I did some, and then I sort of rejected it. Like I didn't do drama in high school or anything like that, but I did the sports. So I played football in high school, but then did the basketball games on the cable channel. And that honestly was my first like, I like this. And we pre-taped the intro. The games weren't live. So it was just me and another high school kid. And so there was a head like student who was like the head nerd, and the teacher just sort of let this
He's the guy from the AV club who set it all up.
Exactly. He set it all up. So his name was Jeff, and we got there, and I'm like, can we pre-tape the intro? And he's like, yeah, fine. I'm like, hi, Graham Elwood alongside Ted O'Connell at Evanston Township High School. And I did this whole thing, and he comes out and he goes, come on, man, you can't do that. You got to use your real voices. I'm like, these are real voices, Jeff. And I did jump to that and was like, this is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
And then the first time I actually did stand-up on TV, I did the TBS New Year's Day Comedy Cure.
How'd you get that gig?
Paul Gilmartin, who I met doing stand-up in Chicago, had moved to Los Angeles, and he was doing dinner and a movie on TBS.
Okay.
So they decided on New Year's Day, they were going to show a bunch of movies and with an intercut stand-up comics.
Very nice.
Yeah, and it was all like Comedy Cure, so everyone's Alka-Seltzer and whatever.
Yeah.
Because everyone's hungover. So that was cool, and I did stand-up on TV, and it was really like, it was wild. I was on TBS, and that was pretty cool. And then
at the time, was that, because what year was that, around that?
96, that was...
Okay.
Yeah, it was New Year's Day 96.
Now, did that, because I know in today's market of doing comedy, like if you were starting out right now, and if you're just trying to do shows, whatever, you try to get on the road and you haven't been on TV, it's just not going to happen. Like they're not going to book you anywhere doing real shows. So if something like that happens, you get a little bit of TV work that all of a sudden, like, did the world of stand-up open up to you a little bit more?
I mean, it was kind of weird because when I graduated from Arizona and moved back to Chicago, there was 14 full-time clubs in the Chicagoland area.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was waiting tables, and within a year quit my waiting job and was just making my living doing stand-up.
Wow, that's incredible.
emceeing and being a feature. I wasn't even headlining just because there was so much work to be had.
I saw a documentary about the comedy clubs in Chicago, and it was just packed, man.
It was nuts.
It was crazy.
The Funny Firm on Monday nights did an open mic. It was a 400-seat room, and it was fucking packed.
Wow.
It was standing room only on a
Jesus.
Monday night for open mic.
So Chicago in 95 is like LA in 89 or something.
Yeah, this was the early 90s is because I graduated in 91, so they were still
Early 90s are
It was still the 80s. It was still riding off the boom from the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it was nuts, man. And so the point was, if you were decent and you had a decent 15 minutes, it was like, we need MCs. And then you build that into a half hour, you start featuring. So it was weird. Before I moved to LA, I was making my living as a road comic.
Wow.
So then I came to LA, I was like, well, I don't want to stay on the road. I want to do film and TV. So like the TBS thing helped get more stage time around LA and get more, like I got into working the improvs. I started emceeing the Irvine Improv and the Brea Improv. And
Sure, yeah.
and that was big for that. And then I was not going on the road that much. I was staying around, and I started auditioning. I was in Playhouse West, this intense Meisner acting school. James
It's a
Franco
big
was in
school.
my class.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. And so I was trying to be this serious actor, and then I got my first like serious. I did a pilot.
Was your dad like sort of very excited when you got into Playhouse West? Like, was that like a thing for him where he's like, he finally came around to his interests? I wonder.
Yeah, I think he just sort of went because the stand-up was. It just sort of seemed like, well, he's already performing and already making his living, so now he's just sort of expanding on that.
That's nice though.
And then I got the strip poker. I did that, and that was my first like serious TV gig, and that was fun.
So when it comes to because this book that you wrote that you created here with Chris Mancini, it's such an in-depth look at film and all different genres that we would never like you never see mentioned in book form. So like for example, just to give you an idea, Matt, you would love this. So there's like fantasy, there's westerns, there's science fiction, but then there's also rockin' movies.
Yeah.
So rockin' movies would be like
music theme, not musicals, but like
Detroit Rock City.
Yeah, or movies about rock and roll stars, or
like Almost Famous, like things like
that. Stuff like that. Exactly.
Yeah. Animation, action, adventure, war movies.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like, I thought that was super cool. And then film noir is a section. So is Cops and Robbers.
Mm-hmm.
So is film school classics, which I thought was really, really neat.
Okay.
Cult classics, martial arts movies, movies we're ashamed we like, sequels, trilogies, and franchises. I loved it. I mean,
they should add a category for movies I'm pissed off at Stephen Glickman for making me go see.
Yeah. Now
that would be a category.
This is a real thing. How did you get into being like a big film nerd? Well, like how did this happen? Because honestly, man, I'd make Matt Walker see every shitty,
worst
horrible movie in the movie theater. Like
he's dragged me to Mother's Day.
You talked about this
we
on
did
our
a whole
show.
episode about it.
Yeah, this is the guy. Okay,
New Year's
this is
Eve.
the guy make him do this.
He made me go see Jack and Jill with him.
Wow.
We went to go see Bucky Larson in the movie theater.
Yeah, Bucky Larson, the
we
Nick
saw
Swartzen movie.
Inappropriate movie.
Yep, Inappropriate Comedy. Is that what it was?
I think it was just Inappropriate Movie.
God, it was terrible.
And then they cut in scenes from the Underground Comedy Movie because it was done by the same guy.
Oh, it was one of the worst things I've ever seen.
I think we were
like
the two people who saw that in the theater in America. Like that was it. It made like $12.
Yeah, it was horrible.
If we saw just every bad movie.
Yeah, I keep making him do that. And then Mike Black.
And then we had like a whole event of it when we went to see Annie.
Yeah, we went to go see Annie, and we invited like a ton of people to come out with us.
We
and we
like
just
5.
all yelled out at the screen the whole time. It was so much fun. It was such a good time.
That one was at least sort of fun because there were more people. But
yeah, but we like going and seeing. I mean, I like going and seeing bad movies. Here's the thing: this is how I feel, and Graham, just back me up on this. I think seeing a bad movie like that is bad in the movie theater is so much more enjoyable because it's this grand scale. Like you get to see. I mean, you know how much money they spend on P&A and on the just getting it into the theaters and and then on the movie.
The
you can
marketing
feel
budget.
the money. You can feel how much money has been sunk into this
just
pile
wasted
of shit
on a
while
pile
you're-
of garbage.
yeah,
Well,
while
that's.
you're
I think
sitting
that's especially when you like are going with a friend with the specific purpose of we're gonna make fun of this movie. Like that is so much fun.
Yeah.
The times I've done some like the shows like the Benson Interruption, some other shows where you interrupt movies on a microphone. Chris and I sometimes when we don't do a lot of live comedy film nerd shows, but we'll show trailers and we usually pick some cool trailers and then we always try to find the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing like making fun of a stupid movie.
Yeah.
It is so amazing. It
feels so good.
It's pure. It's a
It
pure
really-
moment.
It
It's
really,
just-
really is.
Are there any
Well,
terrible movies that you've seen trailers for that are coming out soon that you're looking forward to? Please say Storks.
Yeah, the Great
Let's talk
Wall
Storks.
with Matt.
Don't say Storks. Storks is going to be great, you bastard. That's the Here, we're going to take a look. Let's take a quick look at upcoming movies. We're going to go down the list.
All right.
Is that okay?
Let's see what's coming out.
All right. Hang on. We're looking.
But while you're doing that, to answer your question, Chris Mancini and I didn't know this, but we both went to film school, and then we became kind of friends as comics, and then both had short movies and festivals like 15 years ago. So he came to me back in 2007 and was like, why don't we start? It started as a website, Comedy Film Nerds, where we had like comedians writing funny movie reviews. And he's like, we both have some short films that are just kind of sitting on a shelf collecting dust. Let's sell some movies. Let's create a little store. We'll sell some comedians' products. And we just realized that we just loved movies and we had made some. And then everybody started doing a podcast. And we would go on as the guests, as the Comedy Film Nerds, to talk about this movie or Oscars or whatever. And people started going, why isn't that
a show?
Why don't you guys do your own thing?
Yeah.
So we did that. And then the podcast took off and became sort of the focus of what we're doing. And we were like, we got to come up with a book.
Yeah.
And because we had all these great writers that some of the names you read were also guests on the show.
They're so great.
And-
Greg Proops is so damn good.
Because when we had, that was the great thing going back to the podcast. So they'd come on and we found out, Proops loves film noir. We found out Alan Havey is an expert on old war movies. We just found the strength of everybody and sort of let them like, why don't you write a chapter, in the book?
So cool.
And then Chris and I wrote a bunch of chapters and it was just such a fun, it took almost 2 years to make the book.
That's amazing.
And it was so cool. Like, podcasting in this new do-it-yourself world. I'm now a published author. I've directed my second feature documentary, and it's just like I'm going to do a comic book next year. It's
Hell yeah,
awesome.
dude!
It's so great.
Graham, I'm so happy for you.
Thanks.
You're kicking ass.
It's
Let's talk about some upcoming movies. Starting September 2nd, we have there's a couple, but The Light Between Oceans with Michael Fassbender. Michael Fassbender, do you know?
Oh yeah, that looks interesting. So now as we get into September and October, we're starting to get
the Oscar.
We're starting to get some Oscar movies.
Yeah.
I think that's going for a trophy. That film.
Yeah,
probably. We also got Morgan, which is the Kate Mara.
That I don't know.
That is a sci-fi movie. It looks very good. It is a corporate troubleshooter. Kate Mara is sent to a remote top secret location where she is to investigate and evaluate a terrifying accident. She learns that the events were triggered by an innocent, quote unquote, human who possesses mysterious abilities.
Wow. Now, is Rooney Mara her sister or cousin, or how are they related?
I don't know.
Because I know they're related in some way. And then they're both related to the Rooney family who owns the Steelers and the Mara family that owns the Jets.
No.
Yeah, that's who it is.
Really?
Yeah, that's her grandfather or something, the guy who owns the Jets.
Wow.
I don't know. That one looks pretty cool.
Because they don't own him. Like they sold him to Woody Johnson owns him now. But
and look, everyone's giving shit to Kevin Smith about yoga hosers, and the percentage rating is not great on there. But I will fucking watch anything he does. I love Kevin Smith.
I'm
think
down
he's
with him
super
too. He's going to
cool.
do something inventive. It's going to be something
does. He
different, and he's one of those filmmakers.
it's not the same old.
It's not the same old. And if it's a swing and a miss, it's an interesting one.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100%.
I remember reading something Roger Ebert once wrote where he talked about how like he'd rather see a movie that fails spectacularly while trying to do something great than a movie that accomplishes whatever they're trying to do, but it's just boring.
Right. That's
like
a great point.
Like give me a spectacular failure. Like I think it was talking about the movie North, and he's like it takes a lot of really talented people to make a movie this bad because like they really went for it and they failed this time, but there's some really good people who made this movie and it was just awful, but. We'll give those guys more shots, and then you're going to get something great.
I love Kevin, and I think his stuff is really neat. Like Tusk scared the shit out of me.
Right.
That is a movie about a guy being turned into a walrus. Okay. That would never seem
because you look in the mirror, you're like, "Oh shit, I'm halfway there. It's happening."
It was good. I saw it coming, but it still got me. I went to sleep after I saw it. I had nightmares for the first night, and then the next day I couldn't get it out of my brain. It freaked me out, and so did Red State. Red State was freaky. That is a freaky movie.
I couldn't see Tusk because I just heard that, and I was like, I know. I was too freaked out just at the premise.
It is absolutely jarring because they take it step by step and it does not end happy. It ends rough. Like it is a rough ending. I was really impressed, and I was impressed
Did
that
he get
Kevin
a bucket at the end?
Well, the thing with Kevin is
Spoiler
like,
alert.
you look at the old Clerks, like the first Clerks, and how at the end the guy was going to get
Originally,
shot.
he was
going to
get shot. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like he gets to do a little bit of that in now. He gets to. He doesn't always have to end things on a happy note,
Yeah.
or he can make weird fucking choices and have little Nazi creatures attacking people, in a 7-Eleven, which is what this movie looks like. I can't wait. Skip Trace, Johnny Knoxville. I'm skipping that one. We're not going to talk about that one. And then we get into September 9th, which is we get Sully. Big
that
Warner
looks good.
Brothers movie. Tom
it looks
Hanks.
interesting.
Tom
man.
Hanks is great, man.
So
He
cool.
just it's Clint Eastwood for all of his weirdo political stances.
He's still one of the great filmmakers.
He's still a great filmmaker, and the fact that like in the trailer, it's wait a minute, Sully is not. Maybe there
Not
is-
just the hero,
He's
yeah,
not
it's-
the hero. Maybe there were some mistakes. Maybe that like
Yeah.
and Tom Hanks playing it. I'm excited. To
I'm
see
in,
that
yeah.
film.
Absolutely.
How weird is it though that Dirty Harry is like America's great filmmaker right now?
I know he's like an American Kurosawa. He
really is.
He's making movies this late in his life, and they're all really good and interesting. And it's fantastic.
It's also weird that he's the one who made Bridges of Madison County, which is the one that it just doesn't seem to fit with
I
Clint
know.
Eastwood, but it's like it's such a good movie.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
good. He's phenomenal. Then we got September 16th. We get to walk into Bridget Jones's.
Pass.
Wait,
Oh.
yeah, Bridget Jones's Baby is back with
so
Renee
glad-
Zellweger's
Oh.
new weird face. So that's a thing. I don't look.
Why is this?
I just saw Renee Zellweger in the trailer for another new movie that actually looks pretty good. That film is called did something interesting, and I can't remember the name of it. It's okay. It's all right. I got it. It's right here. And she's starring in a movie called Same Kind of Different as Me. It's not a good title.
No,
Okay.
it's not a good title.
Same Kind of Different as Me, but it's Renee Zellweger. It's John Voight. It's let's see who else is in this. Greg Kinnear is in this film, and give me the correct. Graham, you're better at this than me. Who is what's his name right here? This fella.
Jimon Hunzu or her.
Oh, that
Yeah, I can't pronounce that name.
Damon-
I can't pronounce that name.
Hold on,
Yeah,
let me
I
give
made
it a
you
shot.
guys. I made you guys say it.
Thanks.
Thanks
for making
yeah, because I think they say
So like the dumb American.
Damon
Damon Hunsu.
Hyunsu.
Hunsu.
Hansu.
Eric Peterkovsky, can you tell us the correct spelling?
Yeah,
You know he was in the movie.
Right, he was in that movie.
he's in that movie with that guy from the thing.
Don't worry
where
about
they
it.
do
We
this
can
stuff.
cut that out, Eric, if you want us to cut it out.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right, whatever. There.
Yeah, he's a good
jump.
actor though.
He is a good actor, and
And he
that,
was
that
in,
trailer looks really good. And I like that Greg Kinnear is back.
Because he got big from, was it Master and Commander or something? Was that the first one he was in?
He's a very talented actor.
What? Yeah, where's Greg Kinnear
Greg
been?
Kinnear. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, that's an
He's
interesting.
running a cheese shop in South Florida.
He was nominated for an Oscar.
He's a very talented actor.
I
I don't
know.
know why. I don't know why people take breaks and why they vanish from things, and then you see them again. You're like, I'm so happy to see you. You know, like there's a lot of them that then you hear about. They just people just vanish.
Well, the story I always go to is the guy John Savage, right?
Right.
So he had that run. You know, he was in like Deer Hunter, and he was like one of those. He was in that John Cazale and De Niro, and it was just like he was one of these guys. And then he, from what I understand, just sort of like, nope, kind of done with Hollywood and its bullshit. Like lived in Africa, worked in in an orphanage. Like he just sort of checked out for a while. Which,
Wow.
like the people that have the meltdowns and the drug. Okay,
Well, like where's Brendan Fraser?
right?
Like where is he?
He runs a golf and stuff.
Oh, does he? Really? I had no idea.
Panorama City.
Panorama City.
It's great.
I'm gonna head on over there. I need to get some golf and stuff. So
But you know, I think some people like Freddie Prinze Jr. whatever, because if you think about that, when you get to that level of fame,
by the way, Freddie Prinze Jr. is currently working. I don't know if you know that. He's the host of the TV show Impress Me, an impression comedy show where comedians do impressions. It's hosted.
Is that the one with Dana Carvey?
Yes, it is. It's Dana Carvey is a judge on the show, and then Dana brings on his friends with him, and they judge people's impressions. And it's hosted by Freddie Prinze Jr. Do you know why it's hosted by Freddie Prinze Jr.?
No.
Neither does anyone else. Nobody knows. No one knows.
Yeah, I thought he said I'm out of show business and I'm taking a break, and he just
Well,
needed...
he sort of is. I mean, let's be honest.
All right.
That's hardly
All
show
right.
business.
Okay,
Yeah,
listen. All right, Blair Witch is coming back. They're doing a
which is
remake of the
weird.
Blair Witch Project.
It's not a remake, is it? It's a sequel.
Well,
No, it's called Blair Witch. I don't know, dude. It's got 100% score on Rotten Tomatoes.
can't trust
Maybe
Rotten
it's
Tomatoes
good, I don't
anymore.
You can't trust anybody.
Well, because they got bought by a big movie company. Like
Ooh.
I just
Okay.
I look at it with a grain of salt.
Okay. All right. Well, it should be interesting. I don't know. Adam Wingard is directing it. I've known Adam Wingard for about 15 years. He's a phenomenal director.
Mm-hmm.
It's very
If they
possible.
do it again the right way, they take that premise and like,
Mhm.
because the problem with the original one, it was the first found footage, which
Made
was
people nauseous because
it was too much handle, made you nauseous, but they never showed you anything.
Yeah.
A friend of mine said this. It'd be like if you went to go see Jaws and all you saw was the fin and
The
heard
fin,
the
the
music.
entire- yeah.
Bum, 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 bum. And the shark never came out of the water.
No.
Never attacked it. Never, you just, when is it coming?
Yeah.
Well, in their defense, they made the movie for like what, $12,000 or something. They had
but you
no
can-
money when they made
but
it.
you can have a
they
witch.
were broke when they made
Get
that
a
movie.
witch.
That should be interesting. Get a witch. What, you can't get a witch?
Go to the fucking witch.
I can get you a witch.
Yeah, get a guy in a weird hat and run around.
They just had a weird, creepy thing where you stood in the corner,
Yeah,
facing
some kid
away.
in
I
the
don't-
corner.
What about Snowden? You excited about this? Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
It could be good.
I like me some JGL. I know he's trying hard to sound exactly like Edward Snowden.
I don't think he should have done that.
I don't
but
think so either.
You know what? We're only watching the trailer at this point.
Right.
There's a chance that by watching the movie, it'll kind of go away. It'll be normal at some
Yeah.
point.
You'll just accept it. Maybe
just
it's just
accept
too
it?
jarring in a trailer.
Maybe
By
it's
the
just
way,
weird in the
his
trailer.
movie Don John was fantastic.
It was. It was
Really good.
fantastic. Did you see it?
Oh wait, it was Scarlett Johansson.
Yes.
Yeah,
you're right.
but-
I was thinking
Great
something else.
movie.
That's a very good movie.
Because that's
That
when
was
he
fun.
wrote and directed, and it had who was it? His family was like these people from like who was it? I remember like his dad and his mom.
Oh,
in
it was
the
Tony
movie.
Danza.
Tony
Yeah.
Danza. That's who it was.
So
yeah.
No, it was
good.
good. It started out as this sort of bro comedy, and then it was like, oh wow, we're really going to get into like a weird
Yeah.
sex addiction, and
And it was him like picking Julianne Moore over
that was great.
Scarlett Johansson. And you were like, oh, this was actually really.
That's
well
what I'm
done.
saying.
Yeah.
I love Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but like when he last year he did that French the movie about the French trapeze guy that walked across
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Twin Towers, right?
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
And he this French accent or whatever that was like, oh dude, no.
Yeah.
And it was a movie, and this is now his second movie that has a really compelling documentary about the guy.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah, because you can
Citizen
see Man
4.
on Wire.
Man on Wire is
Yeah.
great, and Citizen 4 is really great. So I'm
Aye,
wondering,
aye.
is this
Is he watching
wanna-
documentaries and be like, let's make that into
let's
a
make
regular movie?
I'll do a wacky accent.
How do you feel about Magnificent Seven?
I'm all for it.
Yeah?
I think it's going to be the box office hit of that weekend.
You better, you son of a bitch. You're the worst person I know.
No, his movie comes out against
Same,
Magnificent
yeah.
Seven, so.
It's coming out against it. So
Yeah.
but it's
But it does look
completely different demographic.
I
Yeah,
think I
yeah.
believe so. I believe you guys
He's,
got
he's
to
in an
sure.
animated movie about babies and birds. And
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
This one's really good though. It's got Denzel Washington. It's got Matt Bomer, who I adore. I think he's great. It's got
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio, Ethan Hawke, Chris Pratt. All
It's a great
wonderful people.
lineup. The original Magnificent Seven was obviously a Western remake of the Seven
Kurosawa.
Samurai.
Mhm.
So I think I'm all for it.
yeah, that's the kind of movie where I think it's been long enough, and if they do it right, it can be good. Unlike what they did with Ben-Hur, which just flopped.
Oh,
You know,
like
it's
crazy.
what's so weird is though is that like I was talking to people the week before Ben-Hur came out, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, that movie is going to be amazing. It's going to be huge. It's going to kill." And then nothing.
It
And it's-
made $11.5 million opening weekend.
So does it feel like nothing is safe? Like we don't know what's gonna. I feel like if like Ice Age, because Ice Age had come out earlier this year and it did not do well, and I kind of feel like if it had come out 2 years ago, maybe, or a different year, it just seems like maybe it's a weird year.
There's weird timing things. Like you have to get your movie to come out at the right time against the right stuff. And
Well,
Yeah.
honestly, to
Yeah.
me, what it comes down to is who is in charge of the film? Who made Ben-Hur versus, Magnificent Seven is now it's Antoine Fuqua, which my problem with Antoine Fuqua movies is he always makes a great first act or two, and then his movies really fall apart.
What other movies has he done?
Well, here, the biggest example for me is Training Day. So I love the beginning of Training Day. I love the first act of it. I love the premise of Denzel Washington, that quandary. Like, did the means, did the ends justify the means? And then the movie just devolved. Denzel Washington just became
It sort of falls apart.
pure evil. He's just a pure criminal, and there's no compelling. Like the thing to me in a cop drama is, that's the question. That's the question we're still asking as a country. You've got all these really brutal criminals, but does that mean a cop can just sort of go outside the law and gun people? That to me is always interesting. And Ethan Hawke as the young rookie in that, I mean, it was really cool, but then it just keeps happening. That Jake Gyllenhaal boxing movie starts out very sort of compelling, and he loses his life, and then it just always kind of falls apart. So that's my concern with Magnificent Seven.
Interesting.
That's like another director who Glickman won't let me mention, where I like the beginning of his movies, and then I think they fall apart.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about it, because you know what I mean. Everybody's different. Everyone has their own opinion on stuff. I particularly really enjoy Judd Apatow, and I really like his movies. I like him as a person. And I like.
I tend to
his
like
stuff.
the first half of Judd Apatow movies, and then I'm like, why is this movie 3 hours long? And why did it change to a completely different movie halfway through? Because it seems like that happens all the time now.
But Trainwreck wasn't that. I mean,
Well, I didn't see Trainwreck.
Well, Trainwreck was handled very, very well. I feel like maybe
But like Funny People is the one that just kills me, because I'm like, I loved the first half of Funny People, and then they go to San Francisco, and I'm like, this is a completely different movie I'm watching. It went from being a comedy about stand-up that was fun to being like this weird drama where he's breaking up a marriage, and I'm like, what the hell just happened here? Like, how did that happen?
Well, I think the thing maybe I don't know how much Apatow listens to people and to critics and to stuff that's out there in the world, but it seems like maybe from 40-Year-Old Virgin is a perfect movie.
It's great.
Great movie.
Yeah. I feel like Trainwreck is a perfect movie.
I really like that a lot.
Every once in a while, I feel like maybe maybe there's a couple movies in the middle there where they're really fun movies, and they go on for like maybe a little too long or a little longer than most comedy movies would go on for. But maybe he's heard so much from people of saying like, you got to cut this down and whatever, that I think he listens to people. I don't think he's past the point of listening for advice and listening to fans and listening to his editor and listening to the people that he works with. Like, someone like George Lucas, who just stopped listening to the world around him and only listens to like himself and the people in his circle. That I feel like he's. I think just, and the only reason I feel like that is because Apatow comes out to do stand up and he hangs out, and then after his sets he goes, "What'd you think?" And people go, "Oh, I love this joke," or "That was joke. Oh, maybe you should tag this with this," and he listens to people. So I feel like he's still listening.
Well, the
to
thing
people
with George
when it comes
Lucas
to filmmaking
is, I think we found out that maybe he's really not the guy who made Star Wars and produced Empire and produced Jedi, but maybe he's the guy who produced Howard the Duck. And that's just who he is. I think that's what we found out with the prequels. That's just who he is.
Well, I don't know. I'm not to jump into Star Wars with you, Matt Walker, but
Let's do it.
Here's how I feel about it. I feel like those first 3 movies, he was so limited in what he could make and what he could do.
Yes.
And when you're limited,
Forced him to be creative and do
forces
amazing
you to
things.
be creative and do amazing
Limitations
things.
are a gift.
Yeah.
It's a gift, and it's great because then when you go to the prequels, and also like, oh, now we've got all this new technology. Like, he got drunk on the technology with the reboots of the first 3, when he put the
when he changed them all.
Yeah.
they added all this computer stuff, and it was just sort of like it was just put in there just because he could.
Yeah, that's why I believe that like he made those first 3 movies and he did a great job with those first 3 movies.
Mhm.
And I feel like he was there and he was doing everything he
Yeah.
could to have his vision, created the best to his ability. Just like in the script, he was like, "Oh, I really want this. I want to see on the screen. I want to see the computer image of the, of the one of the, what was the."
Banthas? What are you talking about?
No. Like it was the computer image of one of the stormtroopers' ships that they were flying in it. I'm forgetting what the
the X-wing or the TIE fighter.
It was a TIE fighter.
Yeah.
There was like a TIE fighter. They wanted to see the TIE fighter, and so he had a computer company create from scratch, and it took months and months and months to render out the image that goes on the screen that you see. That's the computer image of the TIE fighter. But like he was doing everything he could to have his vision brought to life in those first 3 movies because technology was so limited, right?
Yeah.
And then these movies, those prequels are horrendous.
They're awful.
They're so hard to watch. And I've gone back recently and I bought all the original 3 and I was on a plane. So I was like, I'm going to watch the first, these original 3. And I mean, not the original 3, the prequels. I'm going to watch the prequels and just see if I really do hate it as much as I thought I would. And good God, they're fucking hard to watch, especially the first one with Jar Jar Binks and the beginning and the
Jake
and
Lloyd
the underwater stuff, and you're like, it looks like a cartoon. It looks terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think going back to Judd Apatow, so that the Lucas thing, well, anything when you get that big and famous and everyone is telling you yes.
Sure.
And I think that's such a problem in the comedy world because you come up with a comedy and however you break out as a comedian, you're a funny stand-up and then you get to do movies or whatever. There's such a gritty and you got to fight and does this work? Does this not work? And then you get some success and then everyone just laughs at anything you say because it's for their financial gain. You go in those writers' rooms and everyone's like, yeah, ha, ha. And it's like, wait a minute,
I picture that being the pitch meeting for Jack and Jill where they're like, yeah, that's going to be brilliant.
And
we'll get Al Pacino. He'll do it.
Yeah.
And then, so I think why what you're saying about Judd Apatow is good because he is asking people. And I don't know, but my guess is like with Trainwreck, not to take any credit away from Judd Apatow, but I think he said, "Hey, Amy,
right?
Like, let's do this. Like, what do you think?" He didn't just come in and go, I'm Judd, and that's some of the.
I do not get the vibe from him at all that he is a guy who's like, I'm a big deal. You listen to me. I don't get that at all.
No, I don't think that's him at all.
I think it's very like he wants. Like, I think he wants the best possible movie, but then at the same time, he's got a lot of his friends and a lot of really, really, really funny people that he's letting kind of go and be funny. And it's gotta be difficult because I edit and I cut stuff. I'm cutting a thing for Nighttime Show right now with super funny people that we're friends with, and I'm watching this thing and picking the moments and not just using everything that's funny is very, very difficult.
It is difficult to cut and edit that stuff. And what do you keep in and what do you not? And when you work on a project, any project, you get too close to it.
Yeah.
Like that happened with me with the Earbuds, the documentary. I'm in the editing room. I've watched all of this. And I needed to show it to I needed fresh eyes on it because I'm just like, I don't know.
You're completely tuned out on it.
You're completely tuned out. And I think I've even done that just as
do you ever just put it aside for a week and not look at it and you come back and you're like, okay, let me watch this with some
I had
fresh
to do
take?
that.
Yeah.
I had to because I was just getting all the footage and was just sitting in my apartment watching it. And I was just like, I don't and I would call Chris Mancini and be like, what do we do? Is there a guy in this or what do we And you have to do that. And I think especially in the comedy bubble, I mean, you see that when you have a funny TV show and it starts to lose what happened what happened between season 3 and 4 and it's you got to infuse fresh writers in there and you got to it's a tough
Seinfeld was a new writing crew almost every year.
That was by design.
Yeah.
And it's
we ran into that a little on Big Time Rush where season 1, 2 and 3 were season 1 and 2 were fucking amazing.
Mhm.
Like great, funny episodes, killer stuff. And then season 3, things got a little comfortable and a little weird. And they were like trying to figure out how much of like the real world they wanted to bring into it. And then they brought in, I think they brought in Jessica Gao at some point, who wrote on
Right.
Silicon Valley, who's a genius writer.
Yeah.
And she wrote some really, really funny episodes. And they brought in a couple other people who were really brilliant. And then season 4 was like, it was weird. It was one of those things. Like there's a lot of great episodes in each season, but I think, the first few seasons are always like, they're killer.
I think that
Great.
happens. You get comfortable. I was talking with a guy that was a co-executive producer on a lot of big shows, and he said, what happens to writers especially when you get on a show that's like some juggernaut, like Seinfeld or something like that. Seinfeld's not the great example because he rotated the staff. When the ones don't rotate the staff, he goes, sometimes you get these writers in there and they think this is what the world is.
Yeah.
And then it isn't. You just hit this, you found lightning in a bottle, or you cast it really well, not to take anything away from the writers, but then the show just becomes this big financial, machine, and everyone just thinks, and then they're just in writers'
They
room
think that's just how it works.
This is how it is.
Anything we come up with is going to be
it's
gold.
gold.
Yeah.
And it's like, he saw a lot of them, then they would get a development deal,
Go off to somewhere else, and it just doesn't work.
and it didn't work.
Yeah.
And it was
So
like,
weird.
it was interesting to hear that from someone that's working inside of
Now,
it.
can I ask you about stepping back in your career a little bit? Because Glickman knows I'm the biggest game show nerd that there ever was.
Yeah.
And you were on a show called Cram that I used to watch back in the day in 2003, 2004, somewhere in there.
Oh yeah.
So the concept of the show, if I remember correctly, because I haven't seen it since it was on, you took someone, you kept them up for 24 hours
You
straight.
took a couple. You had
couple.
two couples, and they competed against each other.
And then they had like books they could study that they're going to be tested on. Was
Right.
that? And
You
they were
gave
in
them-
like a glass box on Hollywood Boulevard, something kind of
Right.
like that, where
Yeah.
people could walk by and like see
Get
these
out
people.
of here. Are you serious?
Yeah. And it was a fun show to watch.
It was
Sounds amazing.
It was fun. It was brilliant marketing. There was this guy Bob Bowden who is like the most. His garage could be a game show museum.
Mhm.
He loves game
What?
shows. He started as a page or an intern on I think The Price is Right, and they hired him at Game Show Network. He was the VP over there, or the co-executive, whatever. And he was like, "We're gonna take Game Show Network and make it this thing."
That's when they started making a lot of their own shows.
Yes.
Because before that, it was all reruns
that's
of
all
old
it was.
stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
Which was great.
Mhm.
But he was
Yeah,
like,
that's when they had your show. They had the one with Kennedy,
Kennedy, they
which was
had-
on the Prisoner's Dilemma. I forget
Like
exactly.
Russian
what the-
roulette.
Kennedy from
Russian Roulette was a
MTV?
good one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I had such a crush on her. And
Yeah.
Duff.
Yes.
Oh, Duff.
They were two hotties.
They were so hot.
There was Jimmy Pardo had Funny Money.
Yeah, that was a good one too.
You had Lingo. You had and Bob Bowden helped create all those shows, and so it was brilliant marketing. But then they're owned by Sony, and they didn't promote. It could have been this runaway hit, and then they decided to go, we're going to rebrand it to GSN.
Yeah.
Game Show
redid the whole
Network.
thing.
You
Yeah.
had it. It's there. Everyone knows what it is.
And now GSN, you're like, what is GSN?
Nobody cares.
It's any channel. Yeah.
So, but yeah, Cram was they keep two
The
people
other thing they
up.
need to do is every show should have the host have one of those long, skinny microphones, which
Yes!
they did away with. Every game show should have that.
That's
I'm
right,
serious.
Bob.
I agree.
I
It should
loved it.
be,
Yeah.
that Gene Rayburn long, skinny microphone periscope.
Jeff Perry from Card Sharks would do
Yes.
that jog out and hey everybody, and it was smooth.
He's the
Yeah.
one that I think they based Guy Smiley on Sesame Street on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Was Jim Perry? Yeah.
Yeah. Matt Walker is we're all comedy film nerds at this table,
Yes.
but I'll tell you what, this guy is a game show nerd to the point of knows everything about.
I'll watch
every
reruns
game.
of Match
Oh, yeah.
Game 77 any chance I get.
Hosting
Oh, yeah.
game shows was I didn't move out here to do it.
That's my dream job.
It was the most fun. It was so much fun. It was such great work. I would gladly do one again if they ever brought him back. It was really cool. It was I've met so many fun people, and it was
I'll
such
watch
a
all
cool
the new
It was
ones.
so fun.
I watch all the new ones, and there's one on now that drives me crazy because the announcer for the show is Kira Sultanovich, and they're wasting her as the announcer because she says everything funny on the show. She should be hosting the show instead of just
I
being the
agree.
announcer.
I love Kira
Kira's-
Sultanovich.
she's
She's amazing.
Because she's
Funny.
amazing. In this show, I'm watching, I'm just like, swap the roles.
Yeah.
The host and the announcer right there. Swap it.
Yeah.
And that show would be so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always liked the show Double Dare, and I always liked the show
Mark Summers.
American Gladiators, but I feel like I would have broken my leg if I was on American Gladiators. I'd be like the one Jewish guy running up like,
Hawk would shoot you with the tennis ball cannon.
"Don't shoot me, Falcon!" And I just get shot in the face.
Nitro, what are you doing?
Why, Nitro? Why? It hurts so much. Listen, we have to wrap up. You need to come back and
Sure, whenever you want me
you
at.
need to come back
Love
and
to
come
come
hang out. Maybe bring Mancini with you.
You got it.
We can go through the next big chunk of movies that are coming out.
I'm in.
Tell our audience where they can find you.
So you can go to comedyfilmnerds.com. That's our website. You can buy all of our products, the books, everything like that.
Buy 'em.
Buy them, guys. And of course, you can listen to us. We're in iTunes. If you go to itunes.com/CFN, we have our own page with a bunch of stuff you can get to there.
CFN, you have Comedy Film Nerds. It's right there. What are you shortening for?
That's it. And then we're at Comedy Film Nerds on Twitter and Instagram and all that. And of course, I'm Graham Elwood at Graham Elwood, GrahamElwood.com. And then
Where can I get tickets for the LA Podfest?
go to lapodfest.com. It's September 23rd through the 25th. All different kinds of tickets. And then if you want to watch the pay-per-view, that's only $25, but use coupon code CFN, save yourself $5. Thank you guys, man. This was so much fun.
Yeah.
It was
You're
great.
terrific, man. This was a lot. It was a really good time.
Anytime you want
I love sitting down, chatting about fun stuff. Matt, where can they find you in the world?
Well, you can see Judd Apatow retweeting me, even though I don't like his movies very much.
Oh, come on, buddy.
man.
What's the matter with you?
Get on board.
Give me a break.
I do like some of his movies, so I'll say that. You can find me online. Just look for Funny Matt, and I'm on every website as Funny Matt.
Go to careersuicide.com.
And Judd Apatow can let me know what he thinks at mattwalkersucks.com.
There we go. I love that. Of course, I'm Stephen Kramer Glickman. I love Judd Apatow. I love to be in one of your movies.
Yeah.
You can always get me on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at Stephen Glickman, STEPHEN Glickman. Don't forget to subscribe to the Nighttime Show podcast and leave comments on the iTunes page. If you don't, I'm going to find you at your home and I'm going to stab you to death in your sleep. Thanks for listening to the show. We love you. And if you're in the Los Angeles area, come on out to the Nighttime Show live at the Hollywood Improv. Just go to the Improv's website. Go check it out. You go to the calendar, and you'll always see it. It's one of the Saturday night shows.
August 27th, September 24th, and then who knows after that, somewhere at the end of October.
Yeah. Well, this will come out in about a week or so. So it'll be...
Okay.
It'll be the next show will be September 20th.
Go to the LA Podfest during the day and come to our show.
There you go. That's the perfect day.
That's the plan to do it. Make it happen. Yeah, go there for lunch, come here for dinner. All right? Thanks a lot for listening. We love you guys. Peace.